A man should have a hobby.
Well, it's more than a hobby. A hobby's supposed to pass the time, not fill it.
Your time's so empty.
Hi everyone. As you may know by now, I will do a big refit of the 12-volt DC system this winter, and that also means putting in a lot of new instruments and gear. I will not take it too far though. Experience over the years, both professionally and as a sailor, has shown me that I actually don't want to put in more than I actually need. So I will just give you a quick run through on the things I will be putting into my boat. So I have a lot of Raymarine stuff here. Well, actually one thing is missing, the i70S Tridata, which will arrive hopefully in 2-3 weeks time. The reason why I chose Raymarine is that I had it on one of my boats about 15 years ago, and I was very happy with it then, and it seems like they have made their systems with the backbones and the C-talk cables even easier. So if you want to put on any additional gear later on, it's quite easy to connect it to the system you already have. So basically I bought the AIS i7, what is it called? i700, I think it is, which will be connected to the VHF I already have in the boat. Second, I bought this EV100 autopilot system. It's called Raymarine EV100, and it contains different stuff. There is a GPS compass and a pitch roll sensor which comes with it, and I'm a little bit unsure where to put this in my boat, because it has to be, this is the C-talk cable by the way, because it is supposed to be mounted with a 5-degree limit and pointed in the direction of the bow, or actually the heading direction. So, and it also has to be at least 3 feet or 1 meter away from the magnetic compass. So I haven't figured out yet where to put this, but with a little bit more thinking, I'm sure I will find out. The second part here is a control unit which will go into the shelf by the navigational table. And I have the P70S display unit, which will sit outside in the cockpit. And the rest here is only cables and the drive unit. So I also have to figure out how to put the drive unit in. This is actually my new switch panel, and it has 6 switches, and it looks quite nice, to be honest. I bought 2 of them. They can take 50 amps each, and I'm still doing some thinking about how big a cable I should bring, should have from the main switch and until the main connection point, which is here. I don't see it very likely that I will pull 50 amps at one go to the panel. So I'm thinking about fitting a 6 square mil, which is a gauge 10, I think. And that will give me, that can take about 30 amps. So if I put it, as I said, I had 2 of these panels. So if I put the 2 biggest consumers, which is which are which is the fridge and the autopilot on a separate panel, then I should be quite okay. So the rest I have here is actually just a new VHF antenna, which is quite nice. Which is a very short one. It's only 25 centimeters, and that is what is that? Well, close to a foot, and some VHF cables, and I also have this, which will be the fitting that I will lead my cables from the mast and through the deck with. And I think this should fit quite nice. I will have, let's see, 4 cables going through this, so there should be plenty of space for it. And I also have a new LED light as mooring light, so I'll put on. So then we may as well just start removing the old 12-volt DC system and the old instruments. At the moment I have 3 instruments on board. It's a depth sounder and a speed log, which are, both of them are not working. And the third one, which is actually the most funny one, is actually a Decca receiver. We're talking pre-GPS here. Decca was shut down in mid-90s, I think. So I think this receiver was put in early 80s. So I should take it off carefully and maybe ship it to a museum or something. But before we start removing anything, I will give you a run-through on the electrical system as it is now. So these are my 2 batteries. The forward one, which is here, is the house one or domestic one, and this is the starting battery. They are the house battery is 75 amp hours and the starting battery 105. So the way they are connected today is that, first of all, they have very thin, in my opinion, 2 thin wires. I think this is actually the one going to the switch panel or the main switch first, of course, and I think this is a 4.5 square mil. I'm not sure whether that is in gauge. I think what is it, about 12 or something. Further on, the negative here is connected to the negative on the starting battery. Don't pay any attention to this one. This is the fridge, which is connected straight to the battery. I will change that to the switch panel later on, and it's connected with a fuse, 15 amp fuse, and that's okay. So further on, the cables are walking through the couch and pass here, which is the diesel tank, fuel tank. It comes up here in the engine room and up to the 2 main switches, which are here. So this is the cable from the starting battery, and this is the one going down to the starter, which is here, this one. But the strange thing here is that I have learned that the alternator should be connected to the battery side and not the switchboard or the panel side. So actually this one here is from the domestic battery to the main switch, and this one is from the main switch to the positive bus bar, and this one is from the alternator. This is the cable you can see here, and the starter, which is here, and the alternator are connected with this wire here. So if you guys have any ideas, I would really love any comments on this, because I'm absolutely sure that this cable from the alternator should be actually on this side here. Oh, sorry, this side here, with where the cable is coming in from the domestic battery. And of course I will change the wire size here. My two new switch panels, they can take 50 amps each. So I'm thinking of using a 10 square millimeter wire. I think that is gauge, what is it, gauge 10 is it? Something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you also can see that the terminals here are really not good. You got copper exposed there, no heat shrinks. And it's actually the same story here. Maybe you saw that at the battery. The terminals look really bad. That's on the domestic one. The starting battery is not that bad, but it still has the copper exposed, and it says corroded quite much as well. So we have to re-terminal them. I found a problem with my mast support, which was actually a little bit surprising. The thing is that the mast is deck stepped, and this support takes up the loads from the mast and transfer it down onto the keel. So the mast support is stepped on the keel and is underneath the mast support and on deck. And the problem is that this has a big compression damage from the mast. So it's bent. So you can see it clearly here. So it's not so easy to film this, but it's you can clearly see how, if you follow my finger. So this has to be renewed, and after googling, after I did some googling on the matter, I discovered that this is it's actually a weakness on the Maxi yachts. So I asked an engineer who's a friend of mine to do some calculation on how big the loads are, and we'll make a new one which is better, thicker. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do it in aluminium or stainless steel. We just have to wait and see. Of course, if I make it stainless steel, it will be more expensive, and also we have to put something in between the aluminium and the stainless to avoid galvanic corrosion. So we will do some more checking on the matter and see what we end up with. So a lot of shit off the boat, a lot of old electronics, instruments, radios, and God knows what, and just to throw in the garbage, I think. These ones, however, I think I will try to sell. It's actually an old controller for a heater and some lights. Could be somebody has use for them. And in here we only have the cables for the cabin lights left, and I will keep them there until I pull the new ones, so I have makes the job a little bit easier. The plan is to close this shelf, and I wish to put the AIS in here somewhere, and the controller for the EV100 autopilot will also come here. And I'm also thinking about putting the 12 volt outlet as well here. So I need a small bus bar in there to connect the VHF, which is down here, the AIS, and the control unit for the EV100. So I'm thinking about making a front here in carbon fiber, just like the old, the new instrument panel, switch panel will be here. Will also be with a carbon fiber front. So a lot of things done today, and more to come tomorrow. I still have to get this. Let's see if we can get some light for you. It's not easy. I still have to get this mast step off, and the mast support out, so we can make a new one. So that has to be done tomorrow as well. So I will try to get this mast step off. I borrowed a screwdriver. I think this is a type of, it's like the type Beast or something. And we'll see if we can get this thing off. And when we get it off, I will get the mast support out. Well, so I have the mast step off, finally. The last bolt gave me, let's say, a bit of a fight, but I managed to save the screw or the bolt, so it will be totally okay to reuse it. So here you can see the mast support underneath here, and now you can easily see the deformation. So there's no doubt we have to do something here. So the next thing will be to push it up and bring it out. So I have everything off, and after the decompression I've seen that there's a low spot here. So the deck has actually been pushed down, and I'm not very pleased with the laminate thickness either, even though the mast support is taking up the loads. But I think I will clean this down all the way to the perimeter and sand it down and make it level again. Fill up these low spots with fiberglass and maybe give her 2 or 3 layers of CSM, and then finally a layer of gel coat, and just to big up a little bit bigger thickness and level everything out. So here's the mast support taken out, and you can clearly see the damages here. The question is how much shorter it is now compared to when it was new, but it's not that important. I can just, after we level off the mast step again, we can just do some new measurements to get everything right. The thickness here is just unbelievable. We're talking, what, 4 mil? Something like that. And I really don't understand how they could have chosen such a, well, what to call it, cheap solution on such an important part of the boat. So, but finally, it's quite good that we found out, and we can make something better. So that's all for now, folks. In my next video, we will start installing the new 12-volt DC system. I still have some thinking to do on hows and buts and whens, but as soon as I got that cleared up, I will start to pull the new wires. The mast support I will leave as it is until springtime, actually, because I can't do any fiberglassing or anything in the winter, so we have to wait for that. So take care, folks, and see you around.